What's up, guys? Fortexfiend here. Welcome back again to the channel, where we're going to be asking the question, should you be pulling for the upcoming banner for the revamped map event called Grand Offensive Volume 1? We're going to take a look at the brand new units, the pilots, and the supporter warship, and seeing if these are worth pulling. Before I get started, you guys know the drill. If you guys enjoy what you see on this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell, like or dislike, and comment down below if you've seen the details already on the official X page, and if you guys are going to be pulling or not. Okay. So we're going to start off with Providence Gundam. So this is going to be a UR support unit, non-limited. So when this banner leaves, again, these are going to be on future banners. The custom weapon they're going to be featuring is the Dragoon System EX. Kind of makes sense with the whole Seed series and things like that. So it has an EX weapon that inflicts defense down on an enemy, 25%, likely going up to 35% at level 5. Also has an ability that increases own attack by 15% when HP is 50% or below. That's kind of interesting because usually you don't want your support units getting attacked like that or taking a lot of damage. So this one incentivizes you to be at a lower HP, which is kind of a riskier style of play. I'm thinking maybe the pilot that's going to be associated with this is going to have maybe sway or maybe like some sort of like ability like an HP regen or something like that. So then that way it can at least stay alive. But it's pretty standard in my opinion. I know some people were saying that they wish that Providence was an attacker unit, but this one is going to be a supporter. So this is what Providence Gundam is going to be doing. Okay, now we have the pilot, which is Raoul Le Creuset. I hope I said that correctly again. So we have up to 2 support attack encounters, which is always nice. I think with the UR support pilots, you should be expecting to at least do 2 support attack counters, because if they're not, then something's up, you know, because we have like, for example, SSR pilots that could do that. So we have that here. When piloting his own unit, he has an increased attack and defense of units in the same squad bearing the ZAP tag by 5%. So that's kind of cool. So it's incentivizing you to run a ZAP type of a team, which I know there's an Eternal Road that wants you to do that as like a mission. So that's something that you could consider there. So he has like an aura is what I want to call it. So you're running a ZAP team and you got the same squad and he's in there with his own unit. You get a small increase in your attack and defense. And then he also has a character skill that increases damage dealt to enemies by 20%. So he's more like an offensive type of a support pilot. And I can also see this pilot being used in like attack type units. So then that way, when he does provide that support attack, he's actually dealing a bit more damage compared to some of the other support pilots that we have. So this is kind of like what this pilot is going to be doing. Again, I'm hoping he has some sort of like a sway or like a HP restoration or something. That way, you know, in case he does fall below 50% and you get that attack boost, he could still kind of like revive himself or give himself a little bit more HP. So that way you're staying alive and you're still continuously able to support, because you never ever want to be at a point where you're going to lose a support unit, because there goes, you know, a little bit of DPS loss right there. And also you're going to lose out on debuff. But all in all, pretty standard pilot. I think he's cool. All right, we're going to move on to the Kampfer. I know there's a little bit of hype around this one. I was talking to some folks in my Discord. Apparently the pilot for this is like a war criminal. But anyways, this is going to be a non-limited attacker unit. And I saw another comment asking me, how do you know if a unit is limited or not? It would literally say on the slide, limited or not. So right now it doesn't say limited. So this unit is also going to go in the future banners once it leaves the rate up banner that it's on. So it has a map weapon that provides a greater weapon power increase the higher its MP, up to a 7% boost. So this thing, it's kind of reminding me a little bit of was it GPO2A? It has like it looks like it has like some sort of like a nuke or a really powerful map attack. And that's kind of cool that this one has an effect that increases weapon power the higher its MP. So I'm already thinking that the pilot is going to have MP increase, because why not, right? And then it also has an EX weapon that provides a greater weapon power the close to the enemy, up to a 12% boost. So that's kind of cool that it's called Shotgun EX, because it looks like it wants you to get closer with a shotgun. And I mean, we all know what happens when you get up close with a shotgun, but that's kind of cool that they designed it that way for this particular unit. But again, outside of the map weapon, it seems pretty standard to me. I do think the unit is kind of cool that we have like something that looks like this. That's more of a UR unit. That way it's not always just Gundam in my opinion. But yeah, I like it. It's pretty cool. If I were to like choose which unit I'm more interested in, I'm actually more interested in this one over Providence. Okay, so the pilot is going to be Mikhail Kaminsky. So he has an ability that increases his own range damage. I don't know why it says range. It should say range damage by 20%. And another ability, when piloting a unit with a Xeon tag, he increases damage dealt to enemies and also reduces his own damage taken. So that gives him a lot of flexibility in terms of which units he can use him on, because Xeon is a very big tag, so there's a ton of units in that. And then he also has a character, okay, there it is. So he has the MP increase by 6. So that way, if he uses his map attack, you're going to get that weapon power increase, and it's probably going to be higher than 7% if I'm like speculating here, because usually when they tease these abilities, it's usually around like the level 1, so it's probably going to be more than that, and we're just going to have to see when the unit actually comes out. But he's pretty cool. I'd say he's a pretty flexible pilot. No indication of a double chance step, but I mean, not all pilots need to have that for attackers, so I think he's solid as it is. And then finally, the supporter warship. So we got Multa, Azrael, and Dominion. And I actually kind of like this warship, even though it's not limited. Again, it doesn't indicate here that it's limited. So it gives you that stat increase, but to the rival tag. So we now have a rival tag of your supporter warship that also restores the HP of allies within range. So I am mildly interested in the ship, even though, again, it's not limited, just because the rival tag is actually pretty flexible as well. We have stages that pertain to rival, and I think it's a really solid warship. And again, we're seeing a little bit more of like these non-limited warships that are HP restoration, and they're definitely a lot more favorable compared to the energy restoration one. So I would say that this is pretty cool. So now that we know a little bit of what these units can do and pilots, should you be pulling on this banner? If you already have plans or any of these units are your favorites, you're not going to listen to anything to what I have to say. You're going to be pulling regardless, or if you're a whale and you pull on everything, you're going to pull. But if you're on the fence and you're wondering, oh, will this give me any type of like benefit, blah, 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 have I been playing for a while? I would say pass on this banner. Again, none of these units are limited. Honestly, the other non-limited banner that's currently out, which features Kasai and Penelope, I think that banner is better than this one. This one's okay. It's definitely not one of the stronger banners that we've seen thus far. The only way that I think that they can make this banner stronger, and I've been speculating when they're going to be doing this, is if they re-release Strike Freedom and Eternal Lacus on this banner. And the only reason why, again, I'm speculating that they could potentially do that for this banner is because for the Grand Offensive Volume 1, we know that Seed is going to be one of the featured, like, you know, theories for this that gets a boost, and also one-shot killer. So if they do that, there's a little bit more of an incentive to pull on the banner, because Strike Freedom and the Eternal ship is actually still really good. I still use it myself. A lot of players use it for a lot of the hard content, so I could see that as like maybe an incentive to pull on this banner. But if they don't do that, if they don't add or re-release those two in this banner, I would say this banner is a total skip, unless you absolutely really like these units. I think we already have units that are already better or like comparable to these that are possibly in your roster. So that's just going to be my opinion on that. I'd say this banner is a total skip. We have Christmas coming around the corner. There's a lot of rumors that maybe we might see like Endless Walt or something cool, or even like War in the Pocket. So my opinion, I would say this banner is a total pass. But you guys let me know what your plans are for this banner, if you're going to be pulling or not. Are you excited? Do you think they're unique? Do you think they're cool? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.